Today on Life's Potluck Buffet, I'm going to talk about charting our futures and thinking about our work lives in a different way than we've been thinking about it before. So stick around for today's episode. I'm John Paulus. Thanks for joining me. If you looked at the thumbnail for today's episode and clicked on it because it looked really familiar, then you'll know what it is. If you clicked on it because you like listening to Life's Potluck Buffet and didn't know what it was, it's a candlestick chart, which is a type of chart that's used for tracking price changes in a given period of time for something that's just actively trading. It could be anything. And so, for example, historians of these charts think that these were first in play in Japan and invented in Japan 3 centuries ago. And the rice trade was their focus. As a cool side note to that, the idea of rice futures existed in this rice trade 3 centuries ago. And it was called empty rice because it was rice that wasn't delivered yet, you didn't have it in your possession. So it was called empty rice. I learned that from reading about the history of this. I thought that was pretty neat. So the idea of the candlestick chart here is for us to think about patterns in our work life and how that can help us chart our future and predict our next step. So in the thumbnail, what we have is something I put together as a pattern that's called Morning Star. Morning with no U, not sad star. Morning is in the, well, you've probably figured that out. Okay, so there's also an evening star. I should have started with the evening star because then you'd know that the opposite was morning. So evening star is another pattern, and morning star is, as the morning and rising idea sounds, a bullish pattern. So the idea is that this pattern, it gives us a hint that prices are likely to go up. And the evening star, and you think of evening and setting and so forth, the evening star pattern, which is the reverse of this, if you just flip this chart upside down, if you're on a phone or laptop and you go to the thumbnail and flip your phone or laptop upside down, you'll see that's a more or less an evening star pattern. That means the prices are probably going to go down. But again, these are all probably, these aren't set in stone. It's giving you a hint, that a signal, a sign that something's going on. And this is similar to what we're thinking about in our work lives. And the charts there, those candlesticks that are in the chart, those represent the body of the candle has 3 features. If it's black or red, it means that the price has gone down, and the top part is the opening price of whatever you're trading, and the bottom part is the closing price. So the motion is from top to bottom, means that it went down, and then that gets colored in either black or red to show that. And the other way is that if it's white or green, that means the price has gone up in that time period. And in the rectangle that is the body of the candle, the bottom is now the open and the top is the close, right? Makes sense because it went from the bottom, to up. It went up, right? The price went up. So the bottom is now representing the opening price of whatever it is that you are trading. The wick part of the candle is usually called a shadow, and that shadow tells you the highest and lowest prices of whatever it is you're trading in that time period. So let's say it's a day. The high of the day is the top and the low of the day is the bottom. So that's how that goes. The patterns that form from this, there are many, many patterns. There are many handbooks and, there's lots of analysis of the various patterns. It's quite beautiful in many ways, these analyses. There are all sorts of poetic names for the different types of pattern, like morning star or evening star. And those help people trading in whatever it is they're trading to get a hint at what the trend might be. Has there a pattern been broken? Has a trend been broken? Is there a pattern emerging? These are things that people who trade in whatever it is they're trading in, it could be anything, look at or can look at to get a sense of what may happen next. And I say what may happen next because there's no guarantee. Sometimes a pattern is just a pattern, and it looks like something is going to happen, and then it doesn't. So that obviously is an important feature. Otherwise, everybody would be able to predict what the price of something was going to be, and we'd all be on a tropical island somewhere, or wherever you would prefer to be if you could be anywhere. Oh, and speaking of islands, there's a great show. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called Midnight Diner. And I won't give you the whole backstory, but nonetheless, the show involves food. And the episodes of it end with a recipe for what was the kind of important, or one of the important foods of the dramatic show. It's a dramatic show. It's not a cooking show. But it has a cooking show flair to it, a cooking show vibe, and an actual, in a kind of breaking of the fourth wall, or continuation of the third wall, continuation of the fourth wall. Is it the third wall? Okay. Anyway, they give the recipe at the end with the characters who are in the show. So a great recipe, because I was thinking about Japan, because I just said island, and then I was thinking, or islands, and then I was thinking about rice. There's a great, very, very simple recipe on that show. You cook the rice in a kind of, the way at least say I make rice, where you for most purposes, and you cook it in a pot with water, and follow the directions on the bag of rice or the box of rice, and then you put it in a bowl, and then you put a pat of butter on top. Then you wait patiently about 30 seconds or so for the butter to melt, and then you put a drop of soy sauce, of the best soy sauce that you have. Just put like a drop of it, and you have butter rice. Yeah. That is a great and delicious dish. It sounds like, it's simple. It's just butter and rice. That's a familiar combination, especially in countries that use butter and rice, like say the United States. It's not. You think, that's simple. Is it going to be bland? It's not bland at all, because that drop of soy sauce really does the trick. It's magic. And speaking of magic, I'm going to draw a card from the deck for today, so that we can think about charting our futures. And I've come up with a little bit of a chant. Remember I was saying about the light as a feather, stiff as a board, that I should come up with a chant while I'm shuffling the cards that will make it extra magical. So I've come up with a chant, and the chant is yellow lemons, magenta noodles, blue dumplings, tell us some things. All right, so here we go. Yellow lemons, magenta noodles, blue dumplings, tell us some things. Okay, here we go. It's the back of your mind has a full-time job. Okay, this is great. So here's how we chart our future. Ask yourself a question to solve. Then just do something else. Let the back of the mind do the work. Refinish a chair. Run an errand. Do some candlestick charting of a price of something. Whatever your mind-clearing activity is. And then while you're doing that activity, the back of your mind is solving the problem. It's seeing the patterns that we can't see with the front of our minds. The same is true with dreaming. So conscious problems, remember, are often solved by unconscious thought. So do that activity, let the patterns emerge, not to your conscious mind, but to your unconscious mind, and go from there. See what patterns emerge. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time on Life's Potluck Buffet.